So after a few minutes, my deployment got completed, and as you can see here, we have the following details about the deployment. So deployment name, that's it, resource group name, provisioning states is succeeded, and all that information. Just double check on things. You can close the PowerShell at this point, and once you navigate to your virtual machines, you'll notice that we have 4 virtual machines running: virtual machine 0, 1, 2, and 3, 4 in total. So let's continue to exercise 2 or task. Yeah, that should be task 2. Configure the hub and spoke network topology. So it says here, in this task you will configure local peering between the virtual networks you deployed in the previous task in order to create a hub and spoke network topology. So make sure by the time you're getting to task 2, you're done, your deployment is complete. So we need to, in the Azure portal, search for and select virtual networks, then review the virtual networks you created in the previous task. The template you use, this is just a note, the template you use for deployment of the 3 virtual networks ensures that the IP address ranges of the 3 virtual networks do not overlap. So let's just go to virtual networks. And you can click on any of these virtual networks. So you should be having 3 virtual networks at least. Or if you're having a problem, maybe you have previous virtual networks, what you can do is just close this, search for the resource groups, then it should be AZ-104-06 RG1 resource group. So I'll just view this in. Then from this resource group, this should be having a virtual network. So what you can do is choose to group. So you group by, let's try by type. So we have disk, we have network interfaces, virtual machines, and virtual networks. As you can see here, we have the 3 virtual networks. So you can just use this blade to navigate to your virtual networks and confirm their details. So maybe click on the first VNet 01. You can try to see the address space here, compare it to the rest of the virtual networks. Then in the list of virtual networks, select VNet 2. Then on the VNet 2 blade, select properties. On the properties blade, record the value of the resource ID property. So let's get into VNet 2. I'll select this VNet 2 from this point. We'll need to go down to properties. This is properties, just before monitoring. Then the resource ID should be this one. Sorry. What you can do is just click on that button, copy the resource ID. So I'll click on that, copy the resource ID, and save it somewhere. So I'll just save it as VNet 2 resource ID. And I'll paste it there. Sorry. Then let's go back, navigate back to the list of virtual networks and select VNet 3. Then follow the same procedure, go to properties and copy the resource ID for VNet 3. So I'll close this blade, select VNet 3, go down to properties, copy the resource ID. So I'll just say VNet 3 resource ID then I'll paste the resource ID there. So I'll close out of that blade once again. Then on the we have copied that. In the list of virtual networks, we need now to go into VNet 1. Then on VNet 1 virtual network blade, in the settings section, click peering and then click add. So this is the point where we'll be setting the peering. Peering will just enable your different VNets to be able to be in communication. At this point, you can communicate with other VNets from from any of the VNets. So once you set up the VNet peering between the VNets, then you'll be able to communicate with that VNet at least. So we need to go to VNet 1, then go down to settings, and under settings you need to select peering. That is right here. Then at this point you'll need to click on the add button. So you'll configure this, make these configurations. This virtual network peering link name, this is the peering link name. I'll just copy that. This is almost for more or less for the sake of documentation purposes, just in case maybe you come back later on and you're trying to review what was this peering for. So once you name it like this, for instance, VNet 1 to VNet 2 peering, it will be easier for you to understand that is just to peer those two VNets. Then as for the option to allow VNet 1 to access the peered virtual network, ensure the box is checked. So we go back, and this is the option, allow VNet 1 to access the peered virtual network. So this will allow traffic coming from VNet 1 to get to VNet 2. Then allow gateway in AZ-104 VNet 1 to forward traffic to the peered virtual network. Ensure the box is checked. So let's make sure that's checked. So this is the option, the third one. So I'll just check that, and by checking this, you'll be setting up what we call application gateway transit. So in other words, you allow VNet 2 to make use of the application gateway that has been deployed in VNet 1. Moving forward, remote virtual network peering link name. So we need to copy that name and configure now peering for the other VNet. So at this point, this section here, peering, where it says remote virtual network peering, this way you start to configure the peering for the second VNet. So we'll name it with a different name, and that is ideally VNet 2 to VNet 1 traffic being allowed or peering. Then virtual network deployment model is going to be resource manager. Let's see if that's checked. Yeah, that's checked. Then you need to select I know my resource ID, make sure that is checked. So I'll check that. Before we check it, you can just maybe try to review the options that are there at your free time and see if you need to select. If you are going with this option, you'll need to select your subscription here, then select the virtual network that you'll be working with, and such a thing. So it's recommended, at least in this lab, to just go with this process that we'll be taking. So we'll need to select I know my resource ID. Then at this point, we'll need to import the resource ID for VNet 2 that we copied earlier. So this is what I copied. I'll just double click on that, copy, then paste the resource ID here, and let's see if there's anything else to set up. Ensure the box is checked for allow AZ-104 106 VNet 2 to access VNet 1. So let's double check that. Yeah, that's the first box right here. Then allow AZ-104 VNet 2 to receive forwarded traffic from AZ-104 VNet 2 VNet 1. Ensure that box is checked as well. So that's the second box here. Make sure that it is checked. Then at this point you just need to click on add, if I'm not wrong. So let's just go through the note here. Wait for the operation to complete. This step establishes two local peerings, one from VNet 1 to VNet 2 and the other from VNet 2 to VNet 1. So it's kind of like a two-way traffic. I'll click on add. That's why you see two notifications here. So we're adding it's like we are setting up peering from VNet 1 to VNet 2, then setting up peering from VNet 2 to VNet 1. So it seems to be enabled, and the peering status says yeah connected. Step number 12 or instruction number 12 here says on the VNet 1 virtual network blade, in the settings section click peering. So we need to add a peering for VNet 3 now. So I'll just copy these since we've gone through the details. I'll try to speed up on this. So I'll click add, name this. So make sure that this one is checked. We don't need to set up the gateway, so you don't need to check this box because we're not allowing, it seems like we're not allowing the gateway transit in this. So we need to name this other remote virtual network. Resource manager enable. Then let's copy this, go down here. So I think that's all. I'll check this box, the second box. Yeah, so the only thing we haven't done for this one is to allow gateway in AZ-104 VNet 1 to forward traffic to VNet 3. I think that's the only thing we haven't set up here. Oh, by the way, we need to check it, sorry. So this is the option here, we need to make sure that is checked. So I'll check that. I'm just trying to double check things. So seems like this one should not be checked. Okay, so that should be it. Unless we run into an issue, then I may come back and edit that. So I'll click on add. After that, then we need to test transitivity of virtual network peering. So in this task, you will test transitivity of virtual network peering by using Network Watcher. So in the Azure portal, we need to search for Network Watcher. just close out of this, then close that as well. Close that as well. You can use the search box at the top to type, just type in network watcher, and this is the option. Then on the network watcher blade, expand the listing of Azure regions and verify the service is enabled in the region you're using. On the network watcher blade, navigate to connection troubleshoot. Then on the connection troubleshoot blade, initiate a check with the following settings. So the region that I'm using is under Brazil South, and if I just select this one, I think this so far just verifies that my network watch is enabled in this region, Brazil South, because I've checked it, and the next option the option that I have here is to disable it. Otherwise, if this means it's enabled for me, so I'll just leave that as it is. Then I'll go to connection troubleshoot right here. Then in that blade, what we need to do is make the following configuration. So subscription name, you need to select the subscription that you're using. This is going to be the resource group at G1. Source type is going to be for virtual machine. So that seems to be automatically selected here. Subscription name, resource group, virtual machine. Then virtual machine name is going to be VM0. Destination, we're not going to specify that manually. That's okay up to that point. So we need to specify manually the destination. So we'll go with the URI, FQDN, or IPv4 option, and I'll just copy this IP, copy that. Protocol is gonna be TCP on port 389. So I'll paste that there. Protocol is gonna be TCP. Destination port is gonna be the 389. Then at this point, just before we run the diagnostic, it says here that this IP address 10.62.0.4 represent the private IP address of virtual machine 2. So just take note of that. Yeah, we need to click on the just before that. Yeah, so we need to run the diagnostic test and wait until results of the connectivity check are returned. Verify that the status is success, review the network path, and note that the connection was direct with no intermediate hops in between the virtual machines. So let's just do that. I'll click on run diagnostic test. So after some few minutes, the diagnostic check got completed, and this here the results. You can just scroll down on your portal to see the results in great detail. So you can see that it ran a connectivity test, and it was success. Average latency is close to 1 millisecond. Then what's important, what you actually to verify is here hop by hop details. So name AZ-VM0, So status success, IP address of the VM0 was is actually 10.60.0.4, and the next hop that it was trying to get to is 10.62.0.4, and it made that connection directly. And this is the AZ-104 VM6. Yeah, this here should be the NIC or network interface card of the virtual machine under VM2 with the IP address of 10.62.0.4. So if I can just go back to the diagram overview of the network, you'll notice that VM what is that VM 0 10.60. Let me just verify the IP 10.60.0.4. So one of the VMs here, at least this VM right here, because that's the one and subnet 10.60.0. So it was assigned 10.60.0.4 IP address, and it made direct connection to this other VN virtual machine right here because of the peering. So it was able to make that direct connection, and that's actually what we have to test. So I'll close the blade, I'll click OK, then go back to the instructions, just scroll down. Once again, on the network watcher connection troubleshoot blade, initiate a check with the following settings, leave the rest as default. So let's just bring up the network watcher. This is it, network watcher. Then I'll go down to connection troubleshoot once again, and right here you want to do some little configurations. Subscription name is going to remain the same, resource group is going to be resource group 1, source type is going to remain to be virtual machine. The virtual machine is going to be VM0. Let's just double check that. Yeah, that's okay. Destination, we're going to specify that manually once again, and the IP in this case is going to be 10.63.0.4. so ideally that's the virtual machine in VNet 3. So I'll just place in the virtual machine IP, then once again the port will be 389, and here, so we can run diagnostics once again and wait for it to complete. So I'll just run diagnostic, click on run. Wait for that.